Time to play the game. Time to play the game!
Four Midwest Guys presents The Night's Watch, a Game of Thrones podcast.
Night gathers, and now my watch begins. I am the sword in the darkness. I am the watcher on the walls. I am the shield that guards the realm of men.
We watch, we listen, and we remember. The past is already written, the ink is dry.
I thought he was the man to lead us through the long night. But I was wrong.
I'll show them what Lannisters are. What we do to our enemies.
How do you know this?
That's what I do. I drink, and I know things.
I believe men of talent have a part to play in the war to come. I will never sit around.
You could have another client go steps and take that seat.
I'm not going to stop the wheel. I'm going to break the wheel.
They have no idea what's going to happen.
The real war is between the living and the dead. And make no mistake, the dead are coming.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Night's Watch, a Game of Thrones podcast. It's been quite a while since we've done one. This is the first video one, even. That's how long it's been.
Yeah, we were still doing audio back then.
We were still doing audio back in those days. So, welcome to the very first video podcast of the Night's Watch. We're back with Season 8, Episode 1, Winterfell. Right off the bat, there's a whole brand new opening for Game of Thrones now.
Yeah, we start out, we come right through the wall, being shown
the broken wall,
and the tiles appear to flip to show ice, as if the
army
winter is coming.
Yes,
finally, it has broken through the wall and is coming into the different houses.
Yeah, into the north, and you see it symbolizes the Night King and his army of dead approaching. The other cool thing about the new opening is we actually go inside the houses and the castles for the first time, and we see things. We saw the forge inside Winterfell in this case, and we also saw inside King's Landing, and we saw I think it was the dragon catapult from last season. I forget what you call it.
The dragon spear.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. So very little subtle details and changes, but a welcome one. A lot more detail. The graphics are better. They had a little bit more money, I guess, and they revamped it.
Yeah,
so.
we didn't go to several of the places, did we?
Well, we hit everywhere. I think they showed on the map. They showed the wall. They showed House. What was that? House Umber. And then they showed
just for the episode
Winterfell and King's Landing. Yeah,
I forgot that's what we do. It's been that long since I've seen this.
Yeah,
that I forgot that's basically what they showed in the opening is just the places that we're going to in that episode.
Yeah, so whatever is relevant to the episode. So pretty cool right off the bat. So we got a little bit of a new opening. I liked it. Again, a lot more graphics, a lot more detail, and obviously makes it that much cooler. Also, we start off with the arrival at the wall, very much like Season 1, Episode 1, when King Robert came to Winterfell with Cersei and his wife and what he thought were his children. It turns out they were Jaime's. So it was very reminiscent. You saw the Dothraki, you saw the Unsullied. And the dragons come into Winterfell. So it was very similar, even down to the little boy who was Arya last time. This time, Arya kind of steps aside and lets the little boy pass by. So.
Yeah, you showed me the director's part at the end, and they said that was their throwback to the first episode. Since this is the final season,
right?
And in that beginning, Arya was young,
right?
And she was the one that was all excited about the thing. And so now she stepped aside as the older woman, the more mature. She's seen it before, so she let the younger ones look and see.
Yeah, for the first time. Yeah. So much like Star Wars, a little bit of poetry and action. Things kind of repeat themselves. And then we move on to the meeting with the Northerners, and really even in the beginning in the episode, the scene before that, Dany's kind of recognizing that the Northerners don't trust her, just by the expression on their face.
Yeah, you can tell she was
not welcome.
She wasn't used to the coldness.
Yeah,
that they were, and then Jon says, he's like, I warned you.
Yeah.
I warned you that this is how it was going to be.
And it's really shown with the meeting at the Northerners because Lady Mormont, being the tough little kid that she is, tells it like it is, like she always has. Kind of throws it in Jon's face, said, "You left a king and you came back, I'm not sure what the hell to call you."
Yeah. Are you a lord? Are you anything?
At all?
Yeah.
Yeah, it really slams it back in Jon's face, and it really puts the conflict in perspective that they've got a lot to overcome in order to bring all these people together, despite the threat that they're facing. He can't seem to stress that enough. He can't get that through to them that if they don't come together, they're all doomed. They're all dead.
Yeah.
But yet he still has to deal with all this crap because they are already trying to position themselves behind the scenes about who's going to have power and what if they do survive the war.
Right.
And that's a big if. But, I don't know if it's human nature or what, but it just seems like they're always busy scuffling amongst each other, and that's what's got them into this trouble in the first place.
Right.
Because they've already lost so many men to all these wars and everything that's gone on, and now they're facing ultimate war with a no-win scenario. Either you win or you die, and there is no taking the knee to the Night King. I mean, he's got zombies. You become a zombie. That's what happens. Right. So, so it definitely puts things in perspective. I think. Wait, you anything add to that?
No. The only thing I commented to you when we were watching.
Yeah.
In that same kind of scene there. Tyrion.
Yeah.
When he comes out and he says, we've all lost people.
Yeah, we all. Yeah.
We didn't get along, but we must fight together now in order to survive. Right. And we if we do survive, we owe it to Jon Snow. Mm-hmm. And he says, we brought this greatest army the world has ever seen, and two full-size dragons.
Yep.
And then I was commenting to you. I was saying, why would
Sansa?
Why would Sansa come right behind him and say, cause an issue? She didn't stand there in solidarity with him. She was like, well, how are we supposed to feed everybody?
Yeah.
She's causing this issue. That should be behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
And here it's right in front of all the people who they're trying to bring together as a unit.
Yeah.
Just showing the diverse how they're all divided already. I don't know. It was just weird.
I think Jon's just because there's only a handful of people that have seen the Night King and his army and what they're really capable of, that they understand. They're the only few that understand. Now Daenerys should understand that too, but Daenerys was starting some shit too because she goes, "What do dragons eat?" And Daenerys snaps back at her, "Whatever they want."
Yeah, whatever they like.
Yeah. So it's and granted, Sansa started it, but she could have held her tongue and she didn't. Because they're both kind of battling a little bit. I'll one up you. I'm the head bitch.
And then we see it a little later when she says, your sister doesn't like me. Well, she didn't like me to be, and then she doesn't have to like me, but I'm her queen, so she has to respect me or whatever it was. Right. And it's like, God, people.
Here we go again.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes bickering, and you should be really focused at what's coming your way, and no doubt about it. Then we get a nice little meeting between the husband of Tyrion and his one-time bride, kind of still is bride, considering it was never dissolved, I guess, in Sansa. Kind of an interesting back and forth, even though the marriage was never consummated. An interesting meeting, to be sure. Although Sansa really puts him in his place. She calls him out on the whole Lannisters coming to... Because she's right, because, we know Cersei's not bringing an armies, only Jaime's coming.
Right, and she's like, you still believe her. I used to think you were the smartest man I've ever met.
Yeah.
And
you actually believed your sister.
Yeah, you believe your sister. Yeah, you're so stupid. She didn't say that, but she basically said you're stupid and walked away.
Yeah, it was an interesting tit for tat for sure. It's rare that you see Tyrion caught off guard and put in his place, but he's kind of on his own here. Eh?
Yep.
So I don't know. Then we get the nice Jon and Arya reunion. It's been quite a while. I want to think it's maybe been since season 1 since we've seen Jon and Arya together.
They came close a couple times, right?
Yeah, but
they never came together.
Yeah.
And then just to show how much they've come together and how much they've grown, she sneaks up on him using the tactics that she's learned.
Right.
And she says, you're shorter than I remember, basically because she's gotten taller.
Right.
But he goes, how did you sneak up on me? And she doesn't explain why. And then she goes, how did you survive a knife through the heart? And then he's like, I didn't.
So yeah, both characters have come a long way from where they started, and again, it's a little bit of poetry in motion, but it was a nice scene between the two, and I think the big thing to take away is Arya is on Sansa's side, even though even though she loves Jon and they have the most in common, and that bond is still there. To Arya, blood is thicker than water, still.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's protecting the Stark name.
Yes.
And
exactly.
I think, and that's so in her mind, Sansa she even says it, is the smartest woman she's ever met.
Right.
But to the same token, she's never really met Daenerys. And so she doesn't, and she's not really been around Jon Snow.
Right.
So Sansa is really the only woman she's ever kind of been around, kind of, you know what I mean? Like,
in that high instance, yeah, yes. I'll give you that, because she's always been around the guys.
Plus the sister, so she's gonna look up to her sister, and she's gonna
even though they fought as cats and dogs when they were younger, but yeah. So it's an interesting dynamic though, because I think if it comes down, if Arya has to make a decision between Jon and Sansa, even though she loves Jon, I think she would still side with Sansa.
Right now, I believe that.
Yeah, at this moment in time. So we'll have to see how that plays out going forward. Should be interesting. And then we switch over to King's Landing. We head south of King's Landing, and Cersei's Golden Company army has arrived on Euron's ships. Unfortunately, the Iron Fleet has brought them across the sea, and her plan for destroying whoever is left after the war with the dead in the north is firmly in place. It's impressive. I saw it looked like a whole armada of ships full of soldiers.
Yes, 20,000.
Yeah, 20,000 men.
20,000 men, 2,000 horses.
No elephants, though.
No elephants, because they couldn't fit on the ships.
Right, because they're not seafaring creatures, as they said. So, but that's a sizable army, obviously, and enough probably to take out whatever remains.
So she's got the Lannister army plus that army.
Right, whatever's left of her forces plus that. So, so the bitch, I'm sorry, the queen has firmly put her chess pieces in place, so to speak. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. It's going to be a very bloody ending, I think, either way. And I don't think any good's going to come of it in any way, shape, or form. And speaking of Euron, there's a nice scene with his sister Yara on the Greyjoy ship. Little tit for tat as to why Euron's doing what he's doing and how he continues to be the madman scoundrel, I think is the best way to describe Euron. I think he's crazy. He's a scoundrel, but he's also there's no honor.
Right. Him. He's looking out for
arrogant
himself.
To a fault.
And that's what Cersei even tells him. You're the most arrogant man I've ever met.
Yeah, and I think Yara even says, well, what are you going to do if you're on the losing? You pick the losing side. What are you going to do? He says, I'll just sail away. So that's his big plan. And he goes, in the meantime, I'm there to fuck a queen, and that's exactly what he ends up doing. And it's kind of a match made in hell between those two, and those two together are actually pretty powerful together, because he has the ships, she has the army. I don't like it. I don't like it a bit. I think these are the ultimate bad guys, probably to the end of the series. Going forward.
Oh, I agree.
After whatever happens with the Night King happens. So, I don't know. What's your thoughts on Cersei and Euron together?
Well, I mean, we kind of knew it was going to happen. That was his plan from the beginning.
Yeah.
And then we hear him talk about, I'm going to put a prince in you. And, I mean, it was just, it was one of those, like, awkward, like, this is weird. Like, even the lead up to it was, I was hoping to get some alone time, and she said, I've executed men for less, insolent, whatever she said, and he goes, they were lesser men, just like still cocky, still cocky, and
all the way
and she walks like almost to the door, then goes, all right, come on, it's like
lets him in,
like really,
her head, like okay,
I was like okay, and then
I don't know. Like I said, I think they're going to be the I think he's going to turn on her in the end if she finds herself in a corner, and I think that might be her undoing. I don't know. We'll see.
I think she turned on him.
Well, she'll try.
To be perfectly honest, I think
you think he'll be so cocky you won't see it coming.
Yep,
that could happen. I could see that. It's very possible. And then speaking of Cersei and her no end to her evilness, she sends her hand. I forget the character's name now, but he's the her hand, and was kicked out of he was a maester, and he got kicked out of the academy essentially, or the Citadel, and he's the one that made the mountain into a monster.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so he goes up to Bronn of the Blackwater, and long story short, he basically hires him to kill
the Lannisters,
Jaime and Tyrion. So Cersei, not only I can see her killing Tyrion, that's been going on for a while, but Jaime's definitely a new one.
Well, I think it was because she told Jaime, "Pick me or them."
Yeah, and
he's like, "I'm picking them because we have to win."
Right. And you betray her. She's Don Corleone in the woman version, and she's going to, no matter how much she may care for you, she's going to kill you. And that sounds like that's what's going to happen. Now it'll be interesting to see what Bronn does, because up to this point, Bronn only cared about the money. He's always either worked for Tyrion or for Jaime in some fashion, but it's always been for money. But yet there's been a friendship almost.
Oh yeah, so there's been a bond there.
Yeah, between him and Tyrion and him and Jaime. So now Cersei's sending him in to be their assassin. So that's gonna be an interesting dynamic to see how that plays out as well.
To kill him with the bow that he killed. Whatchamacallit with?
Who did he kill with the bow? I don't remember that.
Didn't Tyrion kill?
Oh yeah, that's right. That probably is the same crossbow. I forgot about that.
It is, because he goes, Cersei's always been one for poetic justice.
And I'd missed that. I totally missed that.
Yeah,
wow.
And he brings it and he hands him the crossbow.
Her father.
And that's how he knows who he's supposed to kill. And he's like,
but it's Tyrion and Jaime,
yeah.
Which is wow. So yeah, that'll be interesting to watch that play off of the next 6 episodes for sure. Because I'm sure he's probably heading towards the north, and to see what happens. I don't know, because she told him don't have them come back if they survive. So
yeah, my brothers aren't expected to survive the battle up north, but if they do
here,
yeah.
Wow.
What the heck?
Man, she's a bitch.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. A stone cold bitch.
I mean, can you imagine seeing, like, if we're watching like episode 6 or whatever it is, and they just defeated the Night King,
and all of a sudden there's
and he goes, "We did it!"
Yeah, that would be. Oh man, that could happen though. It's Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
The ones you love are the ones that die.
And that gets me wondering,
yeah,
how far, when we talk about Arya going to the when she goes down into the by the forge,
yeah, and gets the dart made or whatever. Well, I think it's a dart,
right? What if that's not a dart? What if that was actually an arrow?
But it's dragon glass though.
But she can use it in that crossbow.
So she's going to use the crossbow with the arrow to
kill one of the White Walkers,
or to kill the Night King.
Kill the Night King. What do you think?
Could happen.
Yeah?
Yeah, it could easily happen. She has to get Bronn to change sides first, but it's possible. And if anybody can do it, it's her, because she's more scary than any of them. She's
just a thought.
I've always said Arya is Anakin Skywalker, now Darth Vader, because she's turned to the dark side 100%. But anyway, except she's on the good side right now. She's Darth Vader fighting for the rebels, essentially. All right. So speaking of different kinds of relationships and unions, there's a proposal made to Tyrion from oh God, I should have wrote his name down. I knew I should have, because I've already lost it. The old dude that doesn't have a hand, that Stannis cut off. No, that's gonna drive me nuts. Anyway, so he proposes to Tyrion, long story short here, that that in order to unify the kingdoms, you would, for the first time ever, to have Jon and Daenerys wed.
Yeah,
for political reasons.
Right, so that would be the king of the north and the queen
of the south. Well,
basically of the south,
or the rightful queen. Well, sort of. We'll get into that later. Together. So politically, yeah, it would make sense. That would be a strong union politically, and it would pretty much unite most of the kingdom as a whole, at least the mainland, anyway. So interesting that and then they kind of pan to him, and then obviously they're already standing together anyway. I did like the line that Varys put out there, though, in that whole scene. And he's like, young people use respect to keep old people away because old people will remind them that it won't last. Yeah. So even Varys knows that this probably is more puppy love than actual love. So I don't know. What do you think the chances of Jon? Let's just say that the whole Jon being a Targaryen didn't exist. What do you think their chances would be to work things out?
If he wasn't a Targaryen?
If he wasn't a Targaryen.
Honestly, the way the show's gone, I would feel it would be pretty possible.
Yeah.
But knowing that he's a Targaryen,
yeah,
I wonder if even though she's the mother of dragons,
yeah,
if they won't do anything to Jon because Jon is a Targaryen.
They won't, but we see that in an upcoming scene. We'll talk about that in a minute. But
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, I wonder if it's like she would give the thing to Bert and he would just say no, and they wouldn't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she'd give the command and he would stop them. He'd have to learn how to speak their language, but yeah.
Or do they just understand him because he's Targaryen? You know what I mean?
Maybe
because dragons
sense it. Yeah.
Because dragons understand multiple languages.
Well, they understand. They at least can tell genetics, apparently. So, and we'll get into that here. In fact, that's a perfect segue to the next scene, which is Jon and Daenerys riding of dragons. So yeah, Daenerys basically kind of does the whole. She's basically kind of tells Jon he doesn't have balls if he can't ride a dragon. Kind of guilts him into it that way.
Yeah. She says he's like, I don't know how to ride a dragon. She's like, well, nobody knows how to ride a dragon until they ride a dragon. But what's funny is that does she know that only Targaryens can ride dragons?
I don't think she does. That's the thing.
So no one knows that only Targaryens can ride dragons.
Well, I think it's lost. I think it's been lost to time.
Oh, okay. Because it's like you would think that if they knew that and he got on one and rode it, that it would be like, oh.
Which is why a lot of people think Tyrion may be Targaryen as well, because when a few seasons ago when he went into the dungeon and took the brace off the dragons, they didn't eat him. So some people think that's why. But anyway, yeah, Jon rides the dragon accepts him, doesn't even do anything, doesn't snarl, doesn't growl, nothing. So thus proving that he is a Targaryen, he has the blood of a Targaryen and in him. So they ride off, and then he shows them the falls, and they do the whole romantic. It's a whole. What'd you call it?
Because people have been posting on Facebook the meme with a whole new world playing in the background. Aladdin.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
It's too funny.
Don't you dare close your eyes.
Yeah. They also show when we were watching the director's thing, they talked about that. Apparently, that's a place he used to hunt as a kid.
Yeah, I didn't. And that must have been in the books. I guess.
Because nobody mentioned it in the show.
It might have been in season 1, but I don't remember it.
And it was anyway. And she's like, we could stay here 1,000 years, but we'd be really old. That's what he says.
Yeah. And no one would ever find us. Yeah. So it adds to their forbidden love story, literally. And more about that later. Speaking of interesting relationships, we have a reunion between the Hound and Arya. The Hound, who is now part of Jon's army against the dead, returns to Winterfell, and basically the Hound is picking on Gendry in their blacksmith forge area at Winterfell, and Arya kind of puts a stop to it.
Yeah, and it's weird because the Hound just
calls it like it is.
I mean, he just, as soon as she says something, he just stops.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus.
Well, he's the ultimate asshole. He's the ultimate dick, but you can tell in his own weird, screwed up way, he actually cares about her.
Yes.
But it's his own weird, screwed up way. And, to everybody else, he looks like a complete jackass and dick.
Right.
But I mean, what does he say? Something like, "You're a cold bitch," but I guess that's why you've lived this long, or something.
Yeah. I guess that's why you're still alive.
Yeah, that's what it was. So,
and then kind of walks away.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Okay. But it's kind of a little bit of a stare off at first. They're kind of eyeing each other down for a little
he's
while.
like, you left me for dead. She goes, but I robbed you first.
Just to kind of...
Yeah. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a who has a bigger dick. Anyway, but yeah, it was interesting. And then I like the next scene, which transitions into Arya and Gentry, which is kind of its own little puppy love story going on. And that's when I think it's a dart, you think it's an arrow, but it's made of dragon glass, and it looks like it has some sort of a trigger device on it or something.
So I couldn't tell if it was a dart or if it was an arrow, because it almost looks like a blade, but that it almost looks like a detachable. So it's like a sword.
Okay.
And like you can pull, like it separates in the center to have two. Like, so, you know, like you can unscrew it in the center, and then you'd be able to have two blades
in one.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're kind of like small daggers or size.
Yeah.
To me, it looked more like a small dart of dragon glass, and then it had a handle, and it looked like the handle might have had a trigger.
Yeah.
Like it was like a small.
Yeah. It does.
Device.
It does say that on the thing, like we paused it and you can read it. It says dragon glass, and it had an arrow and
head. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and to me, a dart would be more fitting to her skill set, just because she's got an assassin skill set. Yeah, something just ring it. What's the light bulb?
So what if it was a dagger, and the dagger has a trigger?
In the back of it's a dart.
And, no, and the blade will shoot out. So like she gets ready to stab somebody, and they stop her, and she can pull the trigger.
And
yes,
you might be onto something. We'll find out. So, but yeah, kind of interesting there. What happens? And then continuing the whole as the wheel turns, as it often does in Game of Thrones, we end up with a showdown between Sansa and Jon. I won't call it a showdown; it's more of a talk, I guess. But it's basically Jon saying, "What's your deal?" and Sansa just kind of landed on the line for him that, you know, did you take a knee for the North, or did you take a knee because you loved her? And he basically calls him out on it because she sees it. She sees right through him.
Right, because he says she's not her father, and she says, yeah, she's much prettier.
Yeah,
like, meaning she's still crazy.
Right. So she's onto his game, and Jon's left speechless essentially because he can't answer the question, or if he does, we don't get to see how he does.
Yeah, because somebody walks in, right?
No, they just changed scenes.
I thought somebody knocked at the door.
No, because then we transitioned over to Daenerys and Sam. It's just a change of scenes. You hear the door open, and it's Daenerys going into the library.
I got you. Okay.
But yeah, so we're left to kind of wonder what happened, or if he squirmed, or if he did anything at all.
Right, if he even answered.
Because Jon's always been a little, when it comes to Sansa, even in season 1, because she was the noble lady that she always kind of treated Jon because he was a bastard, or at least they thought he was. She kind of treated him that way. So he still kind of has that dynamic with her. But this time she's definitely calling him out exactly, and she's right. You know, what are your loyalties, and why did you really do what you did? So, but speaking of Daenerys and Sam, so I'll hand it to Daenerys. I'll give her credit once she figures out Sam is a Tully and that who his father was, that she owns up to it and does tell Sam straight up that she murdered his dad and his brother for not taking the knee to her, which I thought was noble, I guess, in some ways, because she didn't hold back on the truth. But just kind of leaves Sam shocked, surprised, and mourning all at the same time. He has to excuse himself from the scene, dealing with all those kind of emotions, obviously, because she had actually gone in there to thank Sam for saving Jorah, with the scales and stuff like that, which he did. So I don't know. What do you think Sam is going to do going forward with Daenerys? Do you hate?
Yeah, I really do. I think it's because even when he's talking to Jon later,
he knows the truth.
He knows the truth, and he's like, "No, you're the rightful king, not her.
Right?
Not her. She's not the ruler.
Yeah,
you're the ruler.
She's a bitch. Yeah.
And he says, you know, did you know? Just to double check, and obviously Jon didn't know. Otherwise, Jon would have said something. And then he says, "Would you have done it?" And he said, and Jon said, "Why?
I wasn't the king."
Yeah, I've executed
plenty of people.
He goes, and he said, but you've also spared people.
The wildlings. Yeah.
I wasn't a king then. No, you were, and that's when he tells him. It's like, oh,
it's a great drama. It's a great way to set it up. I didn't see that coming. I was like, ooh,
yeah,
nice little cross tie. And leave it to Sam and Jon. They're the best of buddies, and the brothers with different mothers essentially. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with that, especially the whole. Because Bran's the one because Sam has just come out from mourning about his brother, and Bran's the one that says you got to tell Jon now, and it all happens within a very short time.
Oh yeah.
So Sam has got emotion going still from finding out, and it feeds into his reveal to Jon that he is actually was it Targaryen, the rightful ruler of the Seven Kingdoms and the true king, the true heir to the throne, as it were. And where Jon goes with that, I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, it's like, where does he come back out and just say, I am whoever, and he just sprouts it out there and says, here's the book that says what it is, and Bran knows, or how does he get the people behind him to say, yes, that's who you are?
Here's the thing. Jon has always, throughout this entire series, has never wanted anything for himself. Jon has always done things for the greater good. He's always taken the high road, no matter what. He's always done the greater good thing. This is the first time Jon is in a position to help himself and be selfish and not do the right thing. For the greater, by not saying anything.
Oh yeah, by not saying anything. Okay. Yeah, okay.
And thus keeping the alliance together, at least fight the war first before he says anything.
Right. Do you think he'll do that, though?
No. I think Jon will do the right thing.
I think he's going to say something.
He's going to say something, and it's going to fuck everything up at the exact wrong time to fuck everything up as the dead are approaching.
Yeah.
As the Night Kings are marching on him. But there is a chance Jon's learned from his mistakes in the past and doing the ultimate right thing at the wrong... There's doing the right thing at the right time, and there's doing the right thing at the wrong time.
Right, and he's always done the right thing at the wrong time.
Right. So, we'll see.
Guess we will.
I guess we will. We kind of jumped around there a little bit, but
that's okay.
But we do. The next scene though is we find that we got Tormund and the Castle Black, former Castle Black. Guards have made their way to House Umber, and House Umber has been destroyed, unfortunately, by the Night King.
Yeah, he laid ravage to it. And all you see are pools of blood and no bodies, which tells you, they killed him and they rose him up. And the little Tormund boy, or not Tormund, Umber boy, Danny
Umber is right in the middle of the giant symbol, the Night King symbol, which is like a big ball of, I don't know what you would call it.
I tell you what,
some looking thing.
Well, it's looking at a giant octopus. Yeah. The first time I saw it, I was like, I felt like I was watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, because it kind of looks like the Hydra. Yeah, the early Hydra.
Because that's what I was like, what is it supposed to be? I'm looking and trying to remember what it's supposed to be. I ended up looking it up, and it was from the different. It's been shown in different seasons.
Yeah, because I was saying I've seen this in the cave.
It was in the cave in season 1 opening. It was somewhere.
It was in the snow.
It was in the snow.
Yeah.
And then in season 6, there was a bunch of different. Season 3, we've seen it. So we've seen it periodically through the whole thing.
Yeah.
But and every time it's been made of human appendages. Human appendages with a child in the center.
In the center.
Which it's got to be a symbol for something. Like it's got to be. And they said it's a message from the Night King and a warning or whatever. But it's got to be more than that. Like there has to be a.
Like he's part of an ancient house,
yes,
or something.
Yes,
it's possible.
That's what I think.
Because that's his banner, so to speak.
Yeah,
it could be. And we might find out. We might not. I don't know. It depends. They may give us a little bit more of information because there's all kinds of spin-off series they're working on. I hear so. Maybe they'll tell us where they're going to go next.
That'd be cool.
And then the final scene of the episode, Jaime finally arrives at Winterfell by himself. No Lannister army. Nobody knows who he is just yet. But when Jaime turns around, he has the three-eyed raven, formerly known as Bran, staring back at him.
Yeah.
And Jaime just has this he does this one of these and goes, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, like he's scared shitless.
Yeah, he's like, holy shit. you're alive. So yeah, and that's kind of where it ends. So one last little reunion there, and whether Bran is now not really Bran, but is there enough left to Bran? I want a little revenge,
right?
Because he did push him out of the window and made him blind, or not blind, but paralyzed. I don't know what to see. So
it was a good episode.
It was a good episode. Great first episode. It does what first episodes do. It sets everything up, you know, and you're going to see at least the small conflicts interarrange with the oncoming conflict. And we saw the previews for the next episode, and it sounds like the next episode is at least the start of the war with the Night King,
or it leads right up to it.
Anyway, so things are moving fast, but they should, because we've only got 7 episodes, so 1 down, 6 to go to finish this whole thing.
Which is so unbelievable that they. It's like you think that they would want to push this thing out 22 episodes, you know,
at least 10,
and it's just like to get it, because just how big it is.
Oh yeah,
to think that they could push this out and made so much money and sponsorships and everything that just.
They're sticking with it apparently. I thought at least get 10 episodes to wrap all this up, because. Man, it's like the Night King thing's gonna happen. Maybe an episode, maybe 2. Okay, that takes you what? That's 1, 2, 3. You know, you're left with 4 episodes to finish whatever's left of the Cersei battle and the ultimate battle for the
Iron Throne.
Yeah, the Iron Throne. That's not a lot of time, so things are gonna have to move really, really quickly, and they are. So we'll see. I think it's gonna be a nonstop ride. That's what I'm thinking. Overall, though, I will give this episode a solid B+. It's not an A by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a good, solid episode with good setup and good storylines, and just what a good first episode should be in a new season. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I would give it probably B+, A-.
Yeah.
It definitely didn't get like a high A for me, because there was no battle, there was no, there was not really any action sequences. It was all basically just a setup, just kind of getting us reacquainted with Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, the world, the characters.
But I mean, it was kind of cool seeing different aspects of it. There was a couple questions I had because I hadn't seen some of the episodes prior.
Yeah,
and I'm like, who was that?
And why is
why is that? Why was there? Why is that?
Why
interesting?
Why is Jaime and Bran interesting?
Yeah. So it was a couple of those spots. For me, it was kind of like, ooh. So it got me kind of thinking about the whole Game of Thrones thing, and so it's nice to be back.
It is nice to be back. It is. Real quick, where can you find us? If you like this podcast and you want to see other podcasts and other the past Game of Thrones audio podcasts, as well as our other video podcasts and everything else, your best bet is the one-stop shop is www.4midwestguys.com. There you'll have all of our podcasts, all of our audio and our video is all listed. It's in chronological order on the main site. And then there's also links at the top that will give you, if you just want the Game of Thrones, the Night's Watch, you click the Night's Watch and everything's in order there as well as our other podcasts that are out there. So if you like this and you want to see some more, please go to 4midwestguys.com. You can also find us on Twitter at 4midwestguys. Brian, where can they find you on Twitter?
At Ankzone.
At Ankzone. And you can find me on Twitter at bwilly1977. Also, I've got a lot of work to do on this because I haven't updated much on it in a long, long time. But you can find us on Instagram at 4_Midwest_guys. There's kind of more behind-the-scenes stuff that happens during the podcast. And if you just want a little bit more information about us and, behind-the-scenes photos, that's probably the best place to go. So plenty of ways to reach us. You can also get us on email real quick. You can find us at... it's 4midwestguys@gmail.com as well. So email. So there's plenty of ways. Please reach out to us. Please follow, like, and subscribe as well. Mm-hmm. Brian, I want to thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. And as this is Game of Thrones, I think a proper Game of Thrones send-off here would be to just say the night is long and full of
terrors.
We'll see you next time.